Alright, welcome back to... Well, actually, this is the start of a new anime series. It's been a week since I did another new anime. This one I'm doing one of the most unusual anime that I've ever seen. And a series that I've heard was really good. And of course, I actually read the first chapter of manga when it came out 5 years ago. But I never went any further than that because I got to check my other stuff, so... I since got back to it, and I've read the first 61 chapters of this manga, which was adapted for this anime. Undead Unluck. Yep. So this very first episode discussing the first 4 episodes of this 24-episode season. Now, I have heard this has been renewed for season 2 and a movie. Yep, so it starts off 10 years prior to present day, where you see this little girl, this cute little girl, where she's seeing a plane go off, and then a meteorite comes out of nowhere and destroys the frickin' plane, along with some others. And it turns out, later on we find out, her parents were on the plane. Who took care of her is a complete mystery. So, and then we see her in present day, which they make a slight change in the manga here. She's on a bridge, and she's about to drop down the train tracks. Now, this is Japan, of course they would do this. They actually have bridges like this, even in their stuff. But in here, you might be thinking, is there a walkway in the U.S. where there are train tracks underneath? I don't know of any, per se. Just thinking Japan, so... She apparently finished reading her manga, and she's about to commit suicide, and then a shirtless man comes up to her with a guy who, by the way, her name is Fuko. He has a silver thing in his head. He wears just black pants, no shirt. So... They're talking about, oh yeah, Susan's getting lame. Now in the manga, there was actually some people here walking across this bridge. The enemy, there's nobody here at all. So then, of course, basically, she ends at one point stabbing with a knife in the heart, and nothing happens. And she thinks because he's a zombie, she of course Keiji calls him a zombie. Of course, he's actually undead, and she does ask him what's his name. He doesn't have one. By the end of the first episode, we have to call him Andy, because that's the way he is in the series, so I'm calling him Andy. So Andy proceeds to test basically the power of Unluck, and like at one point he's hugging her, and she asks, "Where are you touching?" And one of like 2 times, he actually touches her chest. By the way, she's actually 18 years old, so it's perfectly legal. So it's not like he's touching a minor, which, for some people, oh thank God, he's not touching a minor this way. It's an adult, so we're fine. We're fine here. So, oh yeah, later at one point he gives a CPR course. Basically, he ends up pushing up her bra. Yes, her bra, which we see later on is actually a sport bra. So. After getting all... And then all of a sudden these guys in suits show up, which, by the way, the lead of this group is voiced by Kyle Herbert. And now the 29th anime I've heard his voice. And I was shocked the fact this was Kyle Herbert, because I knew, wait, that voice is familiar. I know it's not Seb. I know it's not Sean Timble. I know her as, oh crap, it's Kyle Herbert. Okay, cool. Love that. So then, of course, he proceeds, because he has a regenerative ability, he keeps frequently chopping out of his legs, shooting blood out like he's basically firing jets, until, taking it to the hideout so he can touch her and take off her... at one point, he tells her to take off her clothes. She's like, no, well, he does get her to take off her coat, and then her hat falls off, showing the fact she's got long hair. So apparently... any barber who attempts to cut her hair just ups and dies. I'm like, what? Yeah, seriously. So he cuts her hair, and her hair is short for pretty much the rest of the series. So he's like touching her face, and then the guys show up, and of course they fight him, and of course he keeps getting his head chopped off. He gets out of that. Lightning bolt shows up, and then to basically these guys, it's like, oh, let's do something big by giving him a kiss, a smooch on the cheek, not on the lips, a cheek. And then a meteorite comes out of nowhere and destroys his abandoned building. Pretty much killing this whole group of guys. Yeah, they're all pretty much dead. And that's what gets the name. And then, of course, like, ooh, since the kiss, he's like, oh, let's have sex next. I'm like, what? You just met her and yet now you want to do it with her? Like, she's like, nope, not doing it. And then, of course, they change it around. They do censor the word sex in the anime. Which, by the way, this show is made by Dave Production. Which apparently TMS is the planning and producing. They produced the series, but the series made definitely by Dave Production. One of a handful of anime I've seen that they've worked on. Yep. And then, of course, the very next episode, we meet the character Sheen. Oh, by the way, who voices our two lead characters? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, we'll go back to the leader. So Fuko was voiced by Jackie Lastrada, and Andy is voiced by Ben Bakamaga, who also voices another character, which we'll get to him later on. So then we meet the character Sheen and a guy named Victor. Sheen is voiced by Alex Lee, the same guy who voices the lead in Soul Leveling, who also won the Crunchyroll's Anime English Dub Actor of the Year. And here's you might have found this interesting, I didn't vote for him. Not at all. I voted for Mallory Roddick, for Farine. Yeah, so then of course they fight each other. We have Victor basically here. By the way, since it's based in the manga, the intro arc, that's the opening arc of the series, that's pretty much adapted for the first 2 episodes. And then, like, 3 and 4 are part of the Unchanged arc. And apparently the opening saga of this series is 100th Loop Saga. That's the name of it. There's a reason why it's called a loop. We'll get to that when we get to it. So, they also use this organization known as the Union, which basically they technically appear in episode 2. He does get some outfit which he wears once. So our brand new characters we have here is Voidbox. He's voiced by David Walton. And Shin Zhang, who's Chinese. He is voiced by Alex Lee. Yep. So they fight for a while, and of course they're negotiators, but basically to avoid being killed because they work for the Union by working for the Round Table. And like, can we join the Round Table? Since they killed Voidvik's, like, okay, sure. You have to kill one of our members because they were killed one. Then have to kill one more, and then you can join the group. So you have to go to Russia to eliminate one member, and basically their mission to have this Yuma stuff. So then they fly there. Yes, they seriously fly here. First they go on a boat, and of course then they leave Japan because she's never left Japan, Fuko, and then of course they have to flee, and then later on basically she ends up nearly drowning, but thanks to his ability, he's able to do resuscitation on her. Which also, this is when he had to lift her shirt up and lift her bra up, move her bra in order to give her CPR, which that comes to play later on with the whole unluck thing. There's also a thing in this, I think it was episode 2, I think it was, where he basically, when he regenerates, he basically put his head through her shirt and had it where briefly where she's still wearing her shirt, and basically she's exposing her bare chest on his back. And she's blushing the whole time when this is happening. Yep, can't deny the fact Fuko's a pretty girl. Yep. So, and then they take the plane, they go to Russia, they come across this beautiful lake. I'm like, Fuko, I get the fact no one can touch you, but you could, I don't know, put on a bikini if you wanted to. Not really, no, I guess she doesn't want to. For one thing, she's very thin. Somewhat. She's not chubby. No, she's not like chubby. She looks pretty average size for a Japanese girl. So then they meet the person who actually is the person they're here to kill, and it's a girl named Jenny. Jenny Chamber. That is her name. Well, Fuko comes to us when she's painting, and then it turns out, yeah, this is the one who actually captured Andy 50 years prior to the events of the series, basically 30 years before what happened in the opening scene of the episode. Excuse me. Then, of course, basically, like, they have fighting her, of course, and by the way, she's voiced by Amanda Lee Chambers. You're like, that's interesting. Oh yeah, definitely. Also, this series just happens to be the 33rd series to come across that watch this year, which means this could happen. Before this year ends, I could be breaking my all-time record, which is 2020, which is 45 anime. So, Manly Connors, this actually is the 25th series, and some might be thinking, like, what was the last series I come across, basically, where she actually has a voice? Probably either I'm Killing Science Videos maxed out, or probably Maximum Level, or probably, that, Jutsu Kaisen, or The Strongest Sage, Weakest Crest. Excuse me, it's probably the most recent ones. But, yeah, 25 for now, which basically ties it with Felicia Agile, which is also 25 as well. And, of course, they fight her, and by the end of these two episodes, she dies, and, of course, basically she was in love with Andy before Fuko met him, excuse me. And apparently she was an anti-aging droid to keep her young. Then it starts wearing off, so he's like, just a few wrinkles doesn't make her unbeautiful. So it's implied, based on what we see here, that he kisses her just prior to her death, and then she dies. Now not only Fuko joins the Union Council, but also Andy does too. We'll deal with more basically as the series goes on. Now, we're 4 episodes in. We have roughly about 20 left to go for the whole series. And you probably ask, Nick, is this on Crunchyroll? No, it's on Hulu. Though I did hear recently Hulu is going to be shutting down next year. Apparently the reason why they're shutting it down because Disney has officially bought out everything related to Hulu, and instead of keeping the thing going, nope, we have to shut the damn thing down, despite the fact that ESPN Plus, another streaming service they own, that is able to keep that, no problem, but Hulu has to go away? Why? It makes no freaking sense in this matter. Yeah. I don't get why. I mean, just keep the app going. Though, the thing is, Hulu is one of the oldest streaming services out there. It started the same time as Netflix and what is now Amazon Prime. The Amazon Prime video service. Yeah. And I'm like, I think a lot of people probably are asking Disney, Excuse me, Disney. Why are you shutting down Hulu? Hulu is perfectly fine as it is. You can afford to keep it going. Though the rumor of the reason why they're shutting it down because Disney Plus is losing subscribers. You own Hulu, along with Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus, which I heard next year they're getting WWE pay-per-view starting with WrestleMania 42. And I'm like, you're going to keep that going, but not Hulu? Like, I'm sure there probably is going to be demand to keep Hulu going. And some might be asking, where is all the anime going that's on the streaming service? Well, I know that the Godzilla movies have moved over to Tubi. Well, mostly put the Heisei movies that were on. I think that all of them are on Tubi. I think they do some of the show era ones. So at least they're on free one now for the Godzilla films. But some could say that maybe Crunchyroll could pick up the anime that were, well, I don't think that, well, in the case of this show anyways, well, because apparently this is also on Disney Plus as well, I don't think Disney Plus is going to get rid of this one, given the fact it's very popular. The only other anime I could think of they have their hands on is Gogolu's Ranger, which also is on Hulu as well. Now, there's also been criticism related to Disney Plus about a couple years ago this happened, where for some weird reason, no one knows the reason for this at all, where US only, the Bleach Dynasty Blood War wasn't Hulu in US only. I would have thought basically it would include Canada and Mexico, given the fact Canada doesn't have Disney Plus. Like, if I were Disney, I would keep Hulu around, keep it as more of the adult streaming service, and move some of the more adult content off of Disney. Like, you could do that. Nope, let's just shut down the streaming service. I mean, I know Funimation was shut down a couple years ago. That was mainly due to the fact of the merger between that and Crunchyroll. Yeah. But not really much else to say about these episodes. I thought they were really good. I can't wait to discuss the rest, okay? Excuse me. So after you watch a particular video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. Excuse me. Next up, Comic Corner, okay? Thanks, you. Bye.